Hey guys, this is my very overdue update video. Thank you to all of those of you who sent in questions. I have written them down, put them on this handy little jar, so I'll be pulling them out randomly and answering questions that way. Let's jump right in. So this first question, in what ways has my time in Australia grown me? That is a good question. I would say that I've really grown in independence living here. It's my first time living outside of my parents' house. So being on my own, I've learned how to do things like grocery shop and keep an apartment clean. And I've also really gotten to be responsible for my own spiritual growth, which has been exciting. To set my own goals, to be the one setting my own quiet times, and really push for growth in that ways. And I feel like I've grown in confidence a lot. I feel like that's been the biggest thing, is that I've grown a lot in confidence. I've been given leadership roles, gotten to grow in those skills. So I'd like to think that I'm all around a well-grown person. Next question. The most impactful moment while being there. Ooh, that's a hard one. I think personally some of my most impactful moments have been being on outreach in Papua New Guinea, specifically the medical outreaches that I did in 2019, getting to do healthcare like on the ground with PNG health workers, and seeing the hard stories as well as the success stories. They're just learning about medicine and being excited about medicine. It's one thing to learn about a disease, and it's totally another thing to meet a patient who has that condition and interact with them and treat it on them. So from helping a baby be born, to meeting an older couple where the wife had tuberculosis, and the husband cared for her and would take her in walks around the garden in a wheelchair every day, to meeting women who are living with HIV, and whose partners have left them because of that, the stigma associated with HIV. Those are moments where I was like, okay, healthcare is what I'm meant to do, and this is my why. So those are people that I don't think I'll ever forget, and the healthcare workers that I was able to work with, and seeing their work ethic and how they really make do with what they have, and they really are fighting hard for their people, is super impactful to me personally. So this question is, what is the highlight of my job? So I have a couple different jobs at the moment. One of them is I work with our hospitality team in guest services. So when we have guests come and stay with us, I'm part of getting their accommodation set up and hosting them while they're here. And a highlight of that has been learning how to make really good beds. So it's become something that I've really enjoyed, getting to make really neat, nice looking beds with crisp hospital corners. It's one of my favorite parts of getting a room ready, because it's just so fun and so satisfying to see it nicely laid out. It makes the whole room just look really welcoming and inviting. One of my other jobs is helping out with our play school program. So we have a lot of families that volunteer with us, and we have a program for the kids who are between 2 and 5. So they come hang out with us, and we teach them stuff like their letters and their Bible stories, and stuff like that. And I would say a highlight of that is whenever I get to read books to them. There'll be one or two sitting on my lap, and then others kind of slowly are walking by, and you're like, oh, a book. And so then if I'm reading books for long enough, I'll end up with 4 or 5 kids just kind of clustered around me. And I really, really love them. That's a highlight for sure. Next question. Let's see what we got. Ooh, favorite part about being there. The people, hands down. The weather's beautiful, Townsville's lovely, Australia's great, but the relationships that I've built here, the friendships and the kids and the families, like that's my favorite part. The people that I've been able to meet from very different walks of life and all across the globe, and people that I would never have had the opportunity to meet if I hadn't gone on this crazy adventure, has been really, really cool. I've definitely made some lifelong friends here. It's pretty great. Next question. Ooh. So this question says, how many koala bears do you have? So I personally do not own any koala bears. I'm really sorry to disappoint. I've seen several in the wild. There's an island just off the coast of Townsville called Magnetic Island where there are wild koala bears. So there are a couple different trails that you can hike and potentially see wild koala bear. Okay, craziest experience you've had there. Ooh. So at the beginning of 2020, there was a ship from another YWAM base, YWAM Newcastle, I think. So they also have a medical focused ship that they brought up to dry dock in Townsville. And this ship, unlike our medical ship, this ship, the Ruwak, I think, is a sailboat. So we made friends with some of the people there and got to go and have dinner on the ship and walk around. And I felt like I was in like Pirates of the Caribbean or a similar movie to be on this giant sailboat and to get to meet these other YWAMers and swap stories and play goofy games together, all while being on this giant sailboat straight out of a movie, was very cool, very crazy, neat, just neat. All right, next question. What do your lodgings look like? So, when I first joined staff, I lived in our dorm style housing, which was nice, you know, it's I can't complain, until December of 2020 when I moved into an apartment with two of my really good friends, and that has been so much fun, so nice. Simple luxuries like having a real closet instead of a wire hanging rack, or having a real kitchen and not just like a communal cooking space has been such a huge blessing. And my roommates are really great. We all get along super, super well, which is good. Makes it nice when you all get along. Next question. What kind of things are you doing? So at the moment, I am part of the hospitality team. I focus on guest services and like hosting guests, getting guests ready to go. And then the hospitality area covers more than just guest services. So we host meetings and we welcome incoming staff and that kind of stuff. So just because my focus is guest services doesn't mean that that's all I'm ever doing. We're a team, so we pitch in where needed. And then I'm leading our play school team, as I mentioned earlier, which is super great. It's my favorite. I really love it. And then, like, as a ministry, there's a lot of community outreach opportunities that everyone can get involved in, no matter their ministry area. So it was Easter recently. I don't know if you guys knew that, but it was just Easter. And so the radio station that's affiliated with our YWAM base hosted an Easter egg hunt. The radio station that's affiliated with the base hosted a Easter egg treasure trail hunt or something like that. So a bunch of us got to go and be at like different stations along the beachfront area and give out candy to the kids, and then like their next clue to the next station. And that was really, really fun. I love getting to engage into the community with local people whenever we can, because they're pretty great. I don't know if you can tell, but I really, really like Australia, which is why I'm living here for now. They're great. What has challenged you the most? Ooh. Um, it sounds kind of silly, but it's a constant minor annoyance. So I really hate insects, like really, really hate insects. And there's a lot of those here. We have fun mosquitoes, lots and lots of mosquitoes. We have lovely huntsman spiders. Thank Jesus I've never seen one of those because they're freaking huge. But you know, constant threat of spiders and just ants and flies, and like that's the little minor annoyances of living in the tropics, that having lived 21 years not in the tropics, I didn't realize. Things like food going moldy after a day and a half if you don't put it in the refrigerator, and lots of bugs and humidity, and like those constant little things that are like minor annoyances but are always there, have been a real struggle, whether I'm on outreach or just here. It's been fun. And animals that scream at you, I really hate those. Maybe I should answer that question again. What has challenged you the most? This is a hard one. I think it's been both a challenge and a joy, and something that I'm really grateful for. But because we're an international and interdenominational community and organization, there's a lot of different cultures, which is awesome. But it's also been challenging to learn how to interact with people from different backgrounds, like what things are just my preference and what things are like really necessary for me, learning how to compromise, learning how to communicate cross-culturally, and just like be really upfront with like, this is my communication style, and learning how to communicate with people who are a little more direct than I naturally am, or like some cultures are very indirect, and so learning how to kind of meet in the middle and communicate with people where they're at, and where they come from. It's been challenging and something that I don't think I expected moving here. But at the same time, I've made so many friends from different cultures, and I've learned so much, and I've grown so much, and so many of the things that I've grown in are because I met someone from a different culture, from a different background, and they challenged something that I was doing, or that I believed or held dear or whatever, and then I kind of looked at it and was like, you know what? I think you're right. I think I should change in this way. So it's been a challenge, but a joy at the same time, if that makes sense. Next question. So this is a 2-for-1 question. Jokes. Next question. In 20 years, how do you think you will recall this season of your spiritual life? I think moving away from my family and my friends and my like spiritual support system and all the things that I kind of relied on to build my faith and that I put my identity in was really, really challenging, but also gave me a chance to really like solidify for myself, like, no, like this is who I am, this is what I believe, this is like who I know God to be. So I really feel like when I look back, it'll be kind of like a greenhouse time, where I got to put roots really, really deep, because I was in kind of a spiritual greenhouse, in a way, like being in a community where we're really focused on God and focused on growing. So I feel like the things that I've learned now and the things that God's been growing me in are going to be a really, really strong foundation for wherever He takes me next. Yeah. Next question. What has God been teaching you? Oof. A big one that God's been teaching me lately is that it's good to persevere, but persevering and like being persistent doesn't always mean like running at the same wall over and over and over again. Sometimes that's it. But sometimes persistence and perseverance is like realizing that running headfirst into the wall isn't working, and so taking a step back and building a ladder, or walking 2 steps this way to find the door, or like trying to climb it. That like we can be strategic in persevering. It doesn't mean just like muscling through, which is great as a person who doesn't like to slam their head repeatedly into brick walls spiritually. It's nice that that's not the only way to do it. I don't know if any of that made sense. Next question. When are you coming home? This is an exciting one. So I've been here over a year. Crazy, since January 2020, which is already over a year ago. I don't know how that happened, but I'm coming home this summer. So July 2021, mark your calendars. Megan's back in town, bigger and better than ever. No, I'm really excited to get to spend some really quality time with my family, worship in person with my churches again, and get to spend some time with my dog, and also like my friends and family, but like mostly my dog. I really miss her. But yes, July. I'll be back in July. Next question. Who is the best pastor in America? Now, this, I feel like, is a trick question that is designed to get me in trouble. And since I don't want to offend any of the wonderful pastors in America, who I love very dearly, I'm going to say Jesus is the best pastor in the world, and the world includes America, so Jesus is the answer. Most interesting part about living in Australia. Kind of cliche, but I really love the accents. Like on people that I encounter, but also like my Spotify ads are Australian ads, and so I hear the accent there. And when I go out into do my grocery shopping, I love it. I really, really love it. I'm not quite there yet with my impersonation, but I still have 3.5-4 months to perfect it before coming back to the States. So y'all better watch out. Because once Megan has an Australian accent, it's all over. It's all over. But I really enjoy it. I'm not aware of it most of the time anymore, but I'm not aware of how American I sound until I'm in a group of Australians and they'll all be speaking, and then my very American voice will pop up pronouncing my R's, and everyone will be, yeah, see you later, and like, see you later. I feel very American sometimes, but it's fun. I love it. Next question. This is a good question. Do you love it / are you enjoying your life? Yes, I really love it. The last 1.5 years have not been what I expected or what I thought I was getting myself into while coming here. But at the same time, it's been exactly what I needed and exactly where I'm supposed to be. And I'm so sure of that, that this was the perfect 1.5 years for me to be in Townsville. I really love it. It's going to be hard to leave, but good. But hard, but good. Next question. Have you seen the Great Barrier Reef Museum? I have not. It has been under renovations for the last 1 year and a bit, so I haven't gotten a chance to go there, and I don't know that I will before I leave because it might still be closed for renovations. But I have gone to our local aquarium, which was super cool, seeing lots of tropical fish and sharks and all kinds of local Great Barrier Reef wildlife. But yeah, not that museum specifically. So, this question, which sibling have you missed the most, comes from my dear sister. And while I know that she wants me to say her, because otherwise she wouldn't have asked the question, I don't think that's fair. So, I'm going to say my dog, Panda. I have missed the most because my other siblings, like, I can talk on the phone to them. You know, we can have a good old time. We can catch up. But my dog, we can't talk on the phone. And she doesn't know why I left her, which breaks my heart a little bit. I can't explain to her that I'm like doing good stuff and doing the Lord's work and all that. I just left her, and she doesn't know why. And she doesn't know that I'm coming back. That makes me sad just thinking about it. Yeah, I've missed her the most. Sorry, Sarah. Ooh, favorite and least favorite Australian food. I hate to be this person, but Vegemite is really gross. It's not good. Yeah, Vegemite toast. They have Vegemite and Vegemite crackers, which is Vegemite flavored crackers, not good. Vegemite pastries, it's really bad. It's really bad. Maybe it's because I didn't grow up with it, and I'm like more of a sweet person, but it's not good. I'm sorry, Australia. Please don't kick me out. Please let me back in someday. I don't want to be disowned, but Vegemite's it's not it. It's not it. My favorite Australian food, on the other hand, they have a lot of good ones, honestly. I'm a big fan of Tim Tams, which are kind of a chocolate covered cookie, chocolate covered biscuit for you Australians, but you already know what Tim Tams are if you're Australian. They're really good. I personally like to freeze mine so that they're nice and cold. The double coat ones, so there's like twice as much chocolate on the outside, and then you freeze that bad boy. So good. Yes, I'll put a picture of Tim Tams up on the screen somewhere here. If you ever have the chance to try them, do it. They're delicious. Again, I have a huge sweet tooth, so I very much like the sweeter side of Australian foods. But they have a lot of good food. Just not Vegemite. All right. How does your lifestyle compare between Australia and the US? I feel like a lot of the differences are less so like country differences and more so like environment differences. So like when I was living in the States, like I was living with my family in my parents' home, and I was going to school and I was working, and like that kind of stuff, versus here I'm living like in an apartment with a couple of my friends, and I'm doing very different work, and I'm living in community, so I'm living in a set of buildings and like a compound type area with about 100 other people, and so I'm surrounded by people constantly. Like, as I could socialize every minute of every day if I wanted to. I don't want to, but I could if I wanted to. And since we're all Christians, like that's what we came here for, it's very normal to like over meal conversations, just, you know, like we go deep very fast because we all work together and live together and hang out together after work. And so you really get to know people, so we don't really have to do small talk as much. Like, small talk still happens, but I feel like when I was back in the States, it was much more like I didn't see my friends as often because we all have lives, and so we actually have to like schedule to hang out instead of just walking down the hall to where my friend lives and knocking on the door and being like, hey, you doing anything right now? What are you doing for dinner? You want to walk over there and get dinner? you know? So I think the social aspect of that is the biggest difference. But I don't think that's necessarily like a country thing. I think it's just kind of where.